All right, so we have a bit of a shock here from the January jobs report. Payrolls grew by 130,000. Joining us now from Heritage Financial, the CEO and president, Sammy Azzouz. Sammy, thank you for being here with us.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so let's talk about this big surprise here. Big surprise for the job reports. Smashing estimates, the unemployment rate dipped by about a tenth of a percent as well. What does this tell us about the job market right now, and how did it actually beat estimates?
Yes, the January non-farm payrolls report, it came out this morning and it was better than expected, as you mentioned, with the economy adding 130,000 jobs compared to a consensus estimate of only 55,000. And the unemployment rate dropped to 4.3% from 4.4. So it is a good report in that the labor market was considered by many to be an Achilles heel in this economic recovery. And it's
Mhm.
apparently doing better than a lot expected. But you also don't want to go too far necessarily with this one data point. The headline numbers look strong, but this is increasingly a tale of two economies where higher income households are pulling ahead and lower income households are falling behind and struggling with higher prices in essential categories like housing, food, childcare, and insurance, even though inflation is moderating overall. So for many, this recovery doesn't feel real, even despite this strong number this month.
And it's so funny that you say that because I was going to say for some, despite the headline, it's not going to feel that way. And that takes me to my next question about what sectors were most of the jobs gained.
Yeah, so they were in healthcare and social assistance, which is healthcare related. They gained the most, and we saw a decrease in federal government jobs. There was a little bit of an uptick as well in construction, which is a positive, as construction was essentially flat last year. So that's where we saw some of the job moves.
And what's the reaction on Wall Street to this news?
The stock market's basically been flat today, although small cap stocks are down just under 1%, which to me reflects that the market was pricing in and expecting a good economy in 2026, but isn't reacting more favorably to this jobs report because maybe now the Fed doesn't need to cut rates to support the jobs market, which would benefit stocks, benefit small company stocks. And the bond market didn't have much of a reaction either, I think, for the same reasons.
And now some economists say that the tax cuts and investment incentives, they could boost hiring this year. Would you say that that's contributing to this uptick, maybe?
Maybe. I don't know if it's contributing yet. As I mentioned, we saw the gains in healthcare, and that's been a consistent theme for a while. I mentioned that construction saw a little bit of an uptick with 33,000 jobs. So I would say we haven't yet seen the stimulus from tax cuts and incentives impact things yet more broadly, but it's reasonable to expect and hope that they do.
Now, again, you did point out in perspective, like this is one data point. So yes, for the positivity, but hold on, stay tuned in. Do you think there's still a threat of a recession in the near future?
There's always a threat, but a recession in the short term would be a major surprise based on the data that we're seeing now.
Okay. Is there anything that you think is important for people to understand about these numbers, this data that I didn't ask you specifically?
Just regionally, we are running a little bit ahead on unemployment, a little bit higher than the rest of the country, although our data lags by a couple of months. And, there is some optimism that some sectors that were hurting in the local economy, like life sciences and biotech, can see an upswing this year and help the local economy.
All right. Well, Sammy Azzouz, President and CEO of Heritage Financial, we always appreciate you making this digestible for us. You see these headlines and you're like, okay, so what does this mean for me?
Yeah.
So we always appreciate that.
Well, I appreciate you having me. Thank you very much.
Thank you.